Bledsoe was arrested.
Patrick Montgomery was in court.
Jonathan Manapa will stay in federal custody.
No, I don't take responsibility at all.
Hey everyone, welcome to the show. So 40-year-old New York resident Scott Columbus traveled to D.C. with Renee Fata, who has also been convicted. She's also been sentenced. And just 3 minutes after the parliamentarian doors were busted open by the mob, Columbus and Fata were seen illegally entering on surveillance video. So Columbus and Fata were then seen entering the parliamentarian's office. They admitted seeing other members of the mob ransacking that office. And then he and his friend spent only about 20 seconds in that room before heading out. And then, but instead of leaving, they see people ransacking the building. Instead of leaving, they ventured further into the Capitol. So eventually, Columbus and all the people around him were stopped by the police, and members of the mob were shouting at them to push back on the police, and the officers were ultimately forced to shoot chemicals at the crowd to try to get them to disperse. So at that point, Columbus and his friend left the building, but they did not leave the Capitol grounds at that point. Columbus and Fata remained on the Upper West Terrace for at least another half hour, and the FBI interviewed Columbus on January 13th of 2022, and he was less than honest about his time at the Capitol. Columbus admitted being on the Capitol grounds, but he denied entering the building. And then the agents warned him, it's a federal crime to lie to a law enforcement officer. And so then Columbus conceded that, yeah, I did enter, but then he tried to say he was pushed inside. So Columbus was arrested on June 5th of 2023, and he was charged with entering a restricted building or grounds, 2 counts of disorderly conduct, and parading or demonstrating in a Capitol. In September of 2023, Columbus pleaded guilty to the parading charge, so he faced up to 6 months in prison, 5 years of probation, and $5,000 in fines. The government, however, requested a sentence of only 60 days of home confinement, 3 years of probation, and $500 in restitution. And even though he lied to the government, the prosecutor was willing to give Columbus a slap on the wrist because, number one, he has no criminal history. Also, he accepted a plea deal pretty quickly after he was charged. And in the sentencing memo to the court, Columbus' attorney said Columbus is autistic and he's been diagnosed as paranoid schizophrenic and also someone with anxiety and depression. And she said because of all of this, especially the autism, she said he's easily, quote, taken advantage of. And apparently this Fata woman told Columbus that she would be his girlfriend if he drove her to D.C. Now, she disputes that, or at least she says that it makes him sound pathetic. I kind of looked at her social media and did a little bit of digging. She is at least a former addict. Don't know if she still is, but, now it's all about God and all this stuff. So I don't know what the deal is with the two of them, but, I wouldn't be shocked if he's telling the truth. I'll just put it that way. So the attorney explained that Columbus has a, quote, very difficult time discerning people's true motives and navigating interpersonal relationships. And, quote, Ms. Fata is not the first so-called friend to use Mr. Columbus and ultimately reject him after he has served some purpose. So it sounds definitely like she dumped him after the Capitol attack. And U.S. District Judge Randolph Moss presided over Columbus' case, and when all was said and done, Columbus was sentenced to 30 months of probation and $500 in restitution. So I'm conflicted about this one. I will be honest. If what his attorney says is true, I do think some leniency is in order, and you guys know how I feel. I mean, in almost every single case, I believe 2 to 3 months in prison should be the bare minimum. But I do have empathy for people who are on the spectrum. So we'll see what happens. And, if the judge made a mistake on this, if this guy pops up again, if he doesn't get his way in the 2024 election. So I will let you know if I hear any more. Thank you all so much for watching and listening. Please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Please donate if you possibly can. Love you all. Take care. Talk with you soon.